Alright folks, today I'm going to be installing this push start system onto my Toyota Estima, which is a 2003 facelift model, Japanese import. What I've ended up doing with this push start system, because it's a push start and central locking, so far I have done this, which I'll show you. So I've taken my ignition barrel cables out, which are here. So this was attached onto the end of my ignition barrel. It says on the instructions, which are here, it gives you a full schematic on how to wire it all in with this system. But the thing is, I didn't want to break into these lines here, bear them back and wire in hard into it, with the fact that if this thing was to go wrong, or if I decide to remove it and go back to my standard key setup, I could end up with a positives, possibility of a positive being sitting open, which could touch arc onto the car. So what I've done is I have disconnected from the ignition, and I've actually connected up these wires, as you can see here, using just some spade connectors. So that's all been done. Now I went through the system, and it's quite tricky because I don't have a wiring diagram for the car, so I had to sit with a multimeter. So you've got at the back here, you've got a yellow wire which is on a constant live. You've got this red and white wire here, which is also a constant live. Now that two are always on, it's constant, but the system only requires one positive for it to start, but the car does not like only one line getting used. So what I end up having to do is, in here my spade connectors, you'll see there's two red cables, so I had to put in two red spades, and I basically put a Scotch lock on here just so that way I've got the two constants getting the power, giving power. From that, you then have the black with a blue tracer on it. That one there connects to the white cable just here. You've then got your red wire. Your red wire is your ACC wire for the ignition, which goes onto the blue. At the back here we have a black and white wire. It is part of your full ignition system, so basically when you're in the second position on your ignition key barrel, it should be on. So what I've had to do there is I've put the brown wire into that. Now when you get these kits, they always tell you to connect the brown and white together, but because I needed to get all these to be wired up, I had to work out, well, which one's the AC two lines. So I'd wired it all up, but it still wasn't working. So what I ended up having to do was I've put a Scotch lock on to bridge the two as per what the instructions is, but then to give me feed to these two lines here. And then the other cable, which we've already spoke about, the red and white, the other cable that you've got here at the very back is a white solid cable. This white solid cable is your starter cable, which in the system it just goes to a yellow wire. So everything there was all wired up to the ignition for that. So that all held up there. You've then got to connect a white wire which goes to your brake line, well, your brake switch. With that, it's a 4-pin connector. What I had to do was sit with a multimeter and find what one was at 0. Once I'd worked out what one was at 0, out the 3, I then pushed the brake to see if it went up to 12 volt positive. So done that, found which one it is, and it's a green and black wire on this Estima but with your car it could be different. So I've ended up scotch locked into it as well. So that's this one here connected. I've got this brown wire which I've put in as well that comes from the system. Now that's to go to your oil feed, your oil pressure switch. Obviously the oil pressure switch really is in the engine bay, but this cable is never going to be long enough to get there. So I just went up to the dashboard into here and I've wired it into my light, which is up here. So I found what cable it was that was positive from that one. I can't remember the colour straight off the top of my head, and I went and obviously put all this back. So once I'd done that, that was that there all connected up. Now as you can see, I've still got my flashing light here to say that my key immobiliser. Now with this, what I've actually done is I've actually removed the key barrel. As you can see, key barrel has been completely removed, and I'll show you. This here is the key barrel. So that's that 6 pin that I've just showed you. What I've done is I took a chisel, I knocked at the very top. You'll see there's kind of slight bite marks into it. I used a chisel to kind of break the thread free. Once I'd done that, just a set of vice grips, or I've got these it's Irwin rounded nuts removers, which are designed to basically bite in and they'll loosen a nut that's been completely rounded off. So obviously I used them once I'd got this to kind of decent enough, so you can see it's kind of got a bit of a funky pattern on like that one. So once I'd got that out, that then meant that the steering lock is now completely removed. The reason I wanted to do this was because, one, I wanted to keep the steering lock, but two, the way the system's designed, you're meant to put all this in, cut the key, leaving a 1mm at the top here, so the key would then be stuck in the barrel on the ACC, your first stop on the ignition. So this bit here is where you'd end up being. But that then means that, yeah, the steering lock's off, so it's never going to work anyway. And second of all, your key is in here. Now the problem I had with this car, and the whole reason I went to this system, was this key is the only key that I have for the car. So I didn't want to cut it, because if the battery goes flat, I've got no way of opening the car without basically smashing a window, and I don't want to be doing that. So I wanted to try and work a way to get the key out of the barrel, keep it all as one, and keep it safe. So what I've done was I've worked out how to do it with the ignition barrel, so it done all that. So we've done that. Now obviously with the barrel removed, this here will be going underneath the dash. So you've got your cable, which I've removed, and then I've installed the start stop button there. As you can see just now, it's off. So that's all done there. Now if I unlock the car, you'll see that it suddenly went blue. If I push it once, I'll try and do some all up, that there will just basically go to ACC1, so basically my stereo comes on. Push it again, now I have got my dash and everything else all lit up. Push the brake, oh, the immobiliser's on, that's what it is. Sorry, so that's that there. My foot's on the brake and it starts with the button. So that's that, it's all functional there. From that, now one of the things obviously is that this key has a transponder ring inside the ignition barrel, which, as you've seen, is not there now because it's obviously I've removed it. But I've also removed the transponder from inside my key here. Now that there has been taped up onto, just it's been taped on to the top of my transponder. So as you can see, that is that. So I've just got to basically put this up somewhere, cable tie it away so it's hidden away, and that's that. So hopefully I'll have everything functional as it should. I mean, gear wise, gears all go in and out, handbrake off, so that works, and that works. So as you can see, there's no lights on my dash now. Part of the reason that I had to end up doing the red and brown, the red and the brown and the white, the way that I did it was purely because when I did it originally, I didn't have the red, I didn't have this